As a 90s kid, it was hard to not be surrounded by something that was related to the Pokémon universe. From the anime, the video games, the cards. Even if Pokémon wasn't your cup of tea, there was a huge chance you get to know something about the franchise because of its huge popularity. I was definitely a huge Pokémon fan as a kid. As I grew up, I kind of slowly ditched the franchise as far as collecting cards, merch, and religiously following the TV series goes. But I tend to jump to play the games every so often. But everyone who is familiar with the neat and cute things about the Pokémon universe is also maybe familiar with the weird things that surrounded this franchise. From creepypastas to weird theories. From the simple fact that Pokémons are frequently used as a food source, to the fact that Hypo, when it's very hungry, puts humans to sleep to feast on their dreams. But Hypno has also a Pokémon entry in the Pokédex where it states that he hypnotized a child and took it away. What really sends shivers down my spine. It's a long list, but the infamous theory we are talking today is the conspiracy about was there a great Pokémon war. There are many different theories on this theme, but I wanted to add my flavor to it. Of course, these are only speculations, but they have many hidden indications that lead the conspiracy to be true. First, I wanna thank you for watching and I hope you will enjoy this video. I wanna separate this video in 3 parts. In the first part we will talk about where the rumor originates. In the second part, what does the rumor mean to the Pokémon universe? And the third part will be about the conclusion. I wanna also add one note before we start. I will stick with this video only with the first generation and second generation of Pokémon and also a bit of the anime. Because this theory can really go in depth if you look at every aspect of every Pokémon game they were released. So I hope you don't mind. But for another time we can do a deep analysis of every Pokémon entry, what is disturbing or somehow messed up. If you want to see me make such a video, just comment down below and I will do it. So let's start. Our main character Ash and Misty have something in common, along with his nemesis Gary, and that's no one of them meet their fathers. Gary is also an orphan raised by his grandfather Professor Oak. It's really odd that the few main characters in the anime share this misfortune. But also if you play the game, your mom will also state that she thinks of you the man of the house, and your father is nowhere to be found. Traveling to the wild world of the Pokémon universe, at closer examination you will see a lack of majority in adult populations as far as the conspiracy goes. The conspiracy tells us it's a gap between younger and older generations, so you will be encountering only kids or old people. But I will get to this later. The most adults you will meet on your way, you will see working in the gym. This brings us to our conspiracy theory. Was there a war in the Kanto region? The theory says that there was a war set before Red and Blue. For you not familiar with the games, it's basically the first generation of Pokémon. The lack of adults can't tell us for certain if there was a war or not. But if you play the first generation, you know you will go to a city called Vermilion City. There will be a gym member waiting for you, and his name is Lieutenant Surge. Now, he has a special statement that backs up the theory, and it's also the reason why he chose the electric type for his gym. He states that his life was saved by the electrical type Pokémon in the war. In the further examination we see that Surge isn't an old man but rather a middle-aged adult, which can give a clear indication that the war was recent. There is also a sacred tower in the Johto region which almost burned down in the time of constant war. Is this the same war we are talking about now? It's hard to say, but there are certain people who remember those terrible times. As we already mentioned, in the Vermilion City there are also underground paths to the Cerulean City. Why are the underground paths created? Were those tunnels designed as an escape route so the civilians could escape if there was an attack in their city? There are some speculations of the facts that I read in a conspiracy theory. This brings us to the second point. If the Pokémon War was real, what does it mean to the Poké universe? First, there is also a lack of proper roads and infrastructure throughout the regions. You will mostly travel through forests and fields to get to the next city. Most of the cities will be only houses, gyms and hospitals, with little so entertainment for younger generation if we are looking at the first generation. Now this could be a result of a long war where people just simply cared about how to survive and not so much of any type of entertainment. The theory says also the only adults aside from the gym members is Team Rocket, which is a criminal organization. It's an organized crime group that could consist people who fled from the war to get rich, or just people who were mercenaries in the war. So basically the first generation of Pokemon is set in a post-war setting, where the war ended and the whole region is still suffering from the consequences. The war can also explain why Dr. Oak is sending you and many other young trainers to go out and try to collect and scan every Pokemon with your Pokédex, because the war could lead that a database was lost and he wanna verify the specimens that they die out throughout the world and which could be still found in the wild. This brings us to the darkest point of the theory. Now, if the war was true, between which two regions was the war? First speculation is that Kanto is representing Japan and Unova is representing America. So the war could be based on cultural differences. But there is also a second theory, and that's that the war was between Kanto and Johto, because those two regions are neighbors. If you want to look deeper into this post, there is a post by Insightful Panda which claims that Johto is a candidate for the war with Kanto because there is evidence that the government and cultural history and the Pokemon population intertwined. But those two regions share also a Pokemon League together, which could be explained as a peace sign of those two regions. There is also many similar constructions in both regions, which could be a result of an apology for the war they waged. But I said, that's a rabbit hole for another video. I want to dive into the theory of the war itself. Now, the first thing I wanna add, we saw that Pokemon as Magikarp are being used as food source in the Pokemon universe. Does that mean that people are using other types of Pokemon as food? Could be possible that there are Pokemon farms with farmers only raising Pokemon as food source for the war. Think about it. Because there aren't any animal like in the real world and you can't tell that everybody is vegan. So let's go a bit further. Why are so many young kids sent and given Pokemons to train them? Is there possibility there is another war coming and raising Pokemon is just type of a boot thing? So the government can later recruit people for war. One more thing that really bothers me is also Lavender Town. Now Lavender Town was covered so many times in creepypastas, but hear me out please. Could it be that the tower in Lavender Town was a memorial for all the fallen victims of the war? It could act that the city was basically a graveyard. But that's just my theory. So what's the conclusion? It's hard to conclude a conspiracy theory, even if we have some facts that could back up the idea, but there are also so many things that don't seem to match up. Like, if there was a war, why there are buildings and cities not damaged from the war? An explanation would be that the war was fought outside the cities, which is kind of a weak argument. So we can say that the war wasn't true, but then again comes a statement from Surge, where he used electric Pokemons in the war. I mean, Pokemon is still a child-friendly franchise. The problem is that you will find only few people that will mention the war in the first two generations. Maybe they have different definitions of war. Maybe in the Poke universe the war was just a fight between gym members. I wanna also address the point where the conspiracy tells us there are almost no adults, because if you examine the first two generations you will find normal adults also in the game who are not gym members or related to Team Rocket. I think that many people don't remember sharply how many adults were in the game. And let's say this theory is using that. Now, as far as the building goes, if the buildings weren't somehow destroyed by some huge Pokemon like Charizard, Blastoise, Snorlax and so on, because the war was fought out of the towns, there are still, let's say, plenty of buildings that can be entertainment for younger people, like the Pokemon Tower, the Celadon department store, the bike shop. But I need to add one more thing to this, and that's the first Pokemon generation was on the Game Boy, and the Game Boy had some limitations, and of course there weren't many different buildings. Heck, the gym buildings are almost all the same. It's funny to me how people really got fired up about such a theory. I love to talk about such things because it gives the game a certain dark element. But we are still talking about a kid's game and we can't take everything so seriously. Because some of the conspiracy theories are just theories. So do you think there was a war in the Poco universe? Or was the war just a conspiracy theory? I hope that this was a nice twist on the Pokemon universe, because there are many of the dark theories I would like to cover if you love this type of a video. Once again, thanks you for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I see you in the next one. Snorky, over and out.